What's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoot, back with the World Showdown Series, Season 5, Week number 4. And we're taking on the Chanchester United. And he has a pretty threatening squad, but I feel like we do too. And yeah, so we are coming off of a loss. So we're trying to bounce back, get a W here this week, and then, move forward in the season with some more dubs, hopefully. And, the first week that matters is this week, and then so on and so forth. So won't be looking ahead, we'll be concentrating on all of our opponents. We suffered a loss in week 3, like I mentioned, so definitely going to be trying to bounce back from all of these, well, not from all, but from that loss, and try to bounce back and get some dubs. We only take dubs. And so yeah, our opponent here, he has the Mega Ampharos, Cresselia, Decidueye, Gastrodon, Glaceon, Goodra, Infernape, Metagross, Alola Muck, Sylveon, and the Yanmega. So pretty threatening squad, if I do say so myself. But we have Tapu Lele, Garchomp, Suicune, Crobat, Forretress, Alola Marowak, Licky, Magneton, Sneasel, and the Virizion, with Mega Alakazam as our leader, I should say. The man's smart. No pun intended. Pun intended, actually. Anyways, so my opponent has 2 Stealth Rockers, being Infernape and Metagross, so offensive Pokemon. Or in this week, since he does have Metagross, it looks like a pretty good, a solid Stealth Rocker. He could be like a max HP, max Spadef Stealth Rock set with Pursuit, Meteor Mash, and Zen Headbutt or something like that. It works really solid versus my team, especially if he brings like Infernape to deal with Forretress and things like that, or like a lure set on something like Sylveon or Cresselia with Hidden Power Fire or something like that to get rid of the Forretress so that Metagross can put in the work. Infernape is threatening Mon. But it gets Stealth Rocks too, and that's his only 2 Stealth Rockers. And then he's got 2 Mons to remove hazards, which is his Defoggers in Decidueye and Yanmega. His 3 potential Cleric Mons with Hillbell, Mega Ampharos, Glaceon, and Sylveon. So he does have 2 evolutions, which is pretty cool. And then again, the evolutions have both have Wish Pass options. And then he has quite a bit of priority, like Metagross gets Bullet Punch, Infernape gets Fake Out, Goodra, Infernape, and Yanmega get Faint, Glaceon gets Ice Shard, Infernape gets Mach Punch, and then the evolutions and Yanmega get Quick Attack, and then Alolan Muck and Decidueye get Shadow Sneak. So lots of priority. Another reason why I've brought Tapu Lele again this week. See, I didn't want to actually spam Psychic Terrain all season with Mega Alakazam and Lele, putting in the finest of work. I wanted to use, Magneton, Sneasel, Virizion, Alola Marowak, Crobat, Garchomp. I wanted to use all my offensive Pokemon. But so far, I just feel like, a lot of my opponents have had, some really strong priority, especially against Mega Alakazam and Tapu Lele, 2 of my faster Mons. With, I actually have really solid speed tiers. Like, it goes from Mega Alakazam to Crobat to Sneasel to Garchomp to Lele, to, I forgot Virizion as well. It's above Garchomp and below, in between Garchomp and Sneasel. And then Magneton serves as a pretty solid Choice Scarf user. And then the rest of my Mons are pretty slow. Fortress, Alola Marowak, and Licky. But I feel like my speed tiers are really solid, and I'm able to take advantage of that. And opponents have to run Scarf, they have to run priority, and knowing that, I can bring my Psychic Terrain and, pretty much nullify all of their priority, especially when Tapu Lele's on the field or the Psychic Terrain's on the field. That being said, my opponent's team is still pretty scary, having to break through things like, first of all, I could bring Virizion to break down the Gastrodon. But then he has, the Decidueye, Cresselia, Alola Muck, all of which somewhat check Virizion, even with a Z-move. And, Sylveon can take a +2 hit. Goodra gets the Sap Sipper. So I actually decided against bringing Virizion. And I still needed a way to bop the Gastrodon and, to just break through his team. So I've brought a pretty fun squad this week, and we'll go ahead and hop into the team builder here. We've got Pixie Plate, Tapu Lele. So actually not running any psychic coverage on this mon. We're basically just using the psychic terrain this week to boost Mega Alakazam's psychic type attacks, as well as nullifying nullifying priority moves. So Moonblast is boosted by the Pixie Plate by what, 1.2 or something like that. Shadow Ball hits, his only resist being Metagross, and then I have Taunt to prevent things like Sylveon from Wish passing. It can prevent things like Infernape, or Stealth Rock. Metagross from getting Stealth Rocks up, and things like that, or like a Calm Mind Sylveon, or a Calm Mind Cresselia, or a Swords Dance Decidueye, anything like that. I can just taunt them, prevent any kind of weird shit, and toxic and stuff like that. I don't want Garchomp or Lele or Lola Marowak to be poisoned or statused in any way. So Taunt's pretty nice there, and like I mentioned, he's got things like that are really bulky: Gastrodon, Cresselia, potentially Metagross, which I can bop with a Nature's Madness and then put in range of Moonblast or Shadow Ball, respectively. So yeah, that's the Tapu Lele set. He doesn't really, outside of Metagross, he doesn't really have a solid switch in to Moonblast, and I just felt like Pixie Plate boosted Moonblast to just be nice to spam here. I am running a Modest Nature. I do have I actually don't know what my speed is setting at off the top of my head. Let's see here. We'll have to scroll up here. 285. That outpaces base 80 mons, so that's important because I outpace Goodra, outpace Goodra. What else did he have? Let's see here. Goodra, definitely. Cresselia, if it's like max speed or anything like that. I think Glaceon, we outpace Glaceon. And we basically outpace everything that's not Yin Mega or Infernape. Yeah, basically. So yeah, his speed tiers aren't that great actually, and we're actually able to take advantage of that. And then next up we have Garchomp, which is our Dragonium Z. We're rocking the Dragonium this week with the rough skin. We have Swords Dance, Earthquake, Dragon Claw, and Outrage. Outrage is so that we can absolutely bop something at +2. +2 Outrage with the Dragonium. It's it's running through things like Crest, Decidueye, Gastrodon, Metagross even, but I got Earthquake for Metagross, so it wouldn't even matter. And then I guess Yin Mega gets bopped as well. Sylveon doesn't like +2 Earthquakes anyway, so I didn't really need to pack any coverage for the Fairy type mon, and just dual coverage with Swords Dance is just really solid in this matchup. And then I have, I think, the same amount of speed on this thing as I do on hold on, let me take that back for a second. I think I'm outpacing Yin Mega on this bad boy, just in case it came down to him having a speed boosting Yin Mega without Protect or something like that. I think I'm outpacing that, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's scroll up and find out. Yeah, we are outpacing the Yin Mega, so pretty cool there. And Mega Garchomp is just a really solid breaker in this matchup. And then we have a Spadef, Black Sludge, Infiltrator, Crobat with Taunt, Super Fang, Toxic, and Roost. This thing, like I mentioned, everything Nature's Madness and Super Fang is going to be able to take half from all of their mons. So if he's at 50%, it'll drop them to 25%. If they're at 100%, it'll drop them to 50%, so on and so forth. So things like Metagross, Gastrodon, Cresselia can all be wore down, by Super Fang. And then I do have the Toxic to hit Cresselia, Gastrodon, Decidueye, things like bulky mons, and Mega Ampharos, which is maybe a switch into Crobat, predicting maybe a flying type attack or something like that. And then Roost is there for longevity. Now I can prevent rocks. Both of his rockers are outpaced by Crobat, and I can taunt them and prevent rocks. If it comes to that, I do expect his Metagross to have rocks. So there's that. However, if he was like a more of an offensive Metagross, I do have ways around that as well, because things like Garchomp, outpace, knock it out with the Earthquake. You can't set up on Garchomp. You can't set up on Sneasel. You can't set up on Alola Marowak. And then Crobat can prevent it from setting up anyway with Taunt. Tapu Lele and Alakazam. Both, I think I'm packing Shadow Ball on both, which means that, you know, if I have any kind of damage on it, I could potentially 2-hit KO or OHKO it, depending on what range it's at and stuff like that. So, that being said, we have a pretty cool tech we'll show off later on Mega Alakazam, but for another tech, we have our Alolan Marowak with the Lychee Berry. Lychee Berry, if you didn't know, for Natural Gift, turns it into a Natural Gift Grass type attack. I think it's base 80 power, and this thing is, you know, basically my designated lead. He doesn't have a really solid switch in to Alolan Marowak, so I can lead with this thing, and just, if he leads with Infernape, I can click Rocks. If he leads with Metagross, I can click Rocks. However, if I already have Rocks up and he brings one of those mons in, and I can just hit, you know, Shadow Bone the Metagross, I can Boomerang the Infernape. However, I do expect to get Rocks up as something like Gastrodon comes in. It's his only switch into this monster, and then I can bop it with the Natural Gift Grass, and that's, I'm hoping it works out. I have enough attack investment to knock out a max HP Gastrodon with the Natural Gift. And then I have the Lightning Rod, which gives me, you know, somewhat of a stop to Mega Ampharos' Volt Switch. I do have Garchomp, but I don't want to switch Garchomp in on a potential Dragon-type move. That would be scary, reckless, things like that. And then we're max HP, and this allows us to take hits from Metagross and Infernape. If, you know, that were to be his lead, we can set up our Stealth Rocks, we can survive a Banded Earthquake from both mons, and, you know, go on from there. So, next up we have our Dewara Sneasel Life Orb set this week with the Inner Focus so that we can't be flinched. And we have Swords Dance and 3 attacks, Knockoff, Icicle Crash, and Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is there for the Infernape. I do expect him to have something like, if he's not Choice Scarf, I expect him to have Mach Punch or Vacuum Wave. But in the case that he doesn't, and that I've already scouted his moveset or something like that, and maybe he's not Scarfed, or he doesn't have, you know, priority, or hopefully both, he's not Scarfed or have priority, then at +2, this mon really puts in the work with the Life Orb. So if I come in on something like Cresselia or Decidueye, force the switch out and get up a Swords Dance, and then have my Life Orb intact, and he goes into things like, well, basically everything's dropping at +2, unless he's got like a really, really bulky Muck, or like a really bulky Sylveon, or he's packing some kind of berry, like a Cobra Berry on Decidueye or Cresselia or something like that. But yeah, Icicle Crash hits the Mega Ampharos, Knockoff hits Cresselia, Decidueye, both hit the Gastrodon pretty solid, Knockoff hits the Glaceon, Icicle Crash hits the Goodra, Aerial Ace hits Infernape, and basically you get the point. Like, this coverage is perfect, and the speed tier is really, really solid, able to outpace even Infernape, so really, really solid here. And that's going to be our next, our second to last pick, and then our last pick for this matchup is going to be a sub Psyshock Shadow Ball Miracle Eye set here with the Mega Alakazam. Modest nature, max special attack, nearly max HP as well. Didn't really need any speed this matchup. All I had to do was outpace Infernape because you know, like I mentioned, his speed tiers are really slow, so we were afforded this. So if you didn't know what Miracle Eye does, is it allows Dark type Pokemon to be hit by Psychic type moves. So if you look at his team, his only Psychic resist are Cresselia, Metagross, and Alolan Muck being an immunity. So if I click that Miracle Eye, Alolan Muck doesn't have an immunity because its Dark type can be hit by Psychic type attacks, and Psyshock will blow his Poison type Muck away. And then Shadow Ball's there for the Metagross and the Cresselia. Have sub so that things like if he is, you know, Scarf Infernape, or he has so like I was saying, Psyshock with the Miracle Eye blows the Alolan Muck away, Shadow Ball blows the Cresselia and the Metagross away, and then, you know, I have sub there so I can, you know, potentially avoid a revenge kill by something like a Scarf Infernape, or being able to just set up on a Gastrodon or something like that. If I trace Storm Drain and he only has like maybe he's a mono Scald and he can't damage me, and he's actually, doesn't that give me a boost in special attack or something? So then I can sub up on him as well. and then Mega Alakazam just goes ham. And I got the Miracle Eye here this week, and hopefully it can put in some work. I don't know if Muck actually matches up well against my team, but it does give him a Psychic immunity, which with the Psychic Terrain, Tapu Lele, and Mega Alakazam, you may want to bring a Alolan Muck, but I could see it not coming to as well. So yeah, that's going to be it. We can hop into the replay, and we'll be right back. So here we are with the replay, and my opponent does not bring the Alolan Muck, so Miracle Eye Alakazam is, a waste. But he does bring the Metagross, Infernape, Gastrodon, Sylveon, Decidueye, and the Cresselia. So he does bring both Stealth Rockers, being Metagross and Infernape. I'm not sure which one's going to actually have it. See, he could lead with Infernape and just, outpace everything except Crobat, Mega Alakazam, and Sneasel. He could predict me to set up my own Stealth Rocks with Alolan Marowak or Garchomp, and he could lead off with something else, maybe like Gastrodon with Earth Power and Ice Beam. He could, there's all kinds of different things he could do here. I felt like my best thing to do was just lead off with my Alolan Marowak. He doesn't have a solid switch in. I do have the Natural Gift Grass to bop the Gastrodon and get rid of that thing. And it also allows me to lead off with my Stealth Rocker and to potentially just go ahead and get my rocks up. That being said, we'll go ahead and start off the match here. And he does lead with Infernape, so I'm just going to set up my Stealth Rocks here and hope he doesn't have Taunt. He goes for the U-turn. Now, this leads me to believe that he's like a Choice Scarf variant. And I get my rocks up here, and he's not actually going to scout for the Natural Gift Grass. It's not really a common set on Alolan Marowak, but I am going to throw it off here. And if he's not max HP, max defense, this is going to eliminate him. So he's gone. You see how fast that dropped? He's gone. So he brings in his Cresselia here, and I was a little bit concerned. So I go for the Shadow Bone here to see what this thing wanted to do, and it's the Cassib Berry. So it makes sense there. He goes for the Calm Mind here, and I'm going to go for the Shadow Bone once again to see how much damage it does. And this is bouncing off. It's bouncing off. Super effective stab, bouncing off this Cresselia. Insane. So I go into Crobat hard, throw off a Toxic, and now I can just Super Fang Toxic this thing. I can just throw off a Super Fang right here as he goes into the Metagross. Really, really solid there for Tapu Lele and Mega Alakazam. They're looking like huge, huge threats at this point. And he goes for the Zen Headbutt and knocks me out here. So I click Taunt to prevent rocks or like an Agility or a Swords Dance or anything like that. I don't know that Metagross gets Swords Dance. So he's actually going to be forced out here into his Decidueye. And he takes the Earthquake with relative ease. But I have the Dragonium Z for the Outrage. And I don't think I'm adamant. I'm pretty sure I'm Jolly. But it should still knock him out here. And we're going to go for it. Devastating Drake. And it knocks out the Decidueye. He's going to bring in the Sylveon. But we have a hard switch into the Alolan Marowak. As he just goes for the Heal Bell. Gets rid of the Toxic on Cresselia. Which is actually problematic. So I do have to play around Cresselia a little bit better. As he goes hard into it here. As I click the Shadow Bone. I'm going to hard switch out into Garchomp. And I'm going to try to break this thing. I'm going to set up a Swords Dance, as we're going to see what he wants to go for here. He does have the Moonblast. I'm actually going to click Swords Dance once again, because I want to break through this. I want to break through everything, and if the Infernape doesn't have a way to hit me, then I could be able to just sweep here. But he actually ends up going hard into his Sylveon. It gets bopped by the Earthquake, and then he's going to reveal that Infernape definitely has something for me. Close combat would have knocked me out here anyway. So I probably shouldn't have took the second Moonblast. And I can just bring in Lele here and go for the Shadow Ball. Since he doesn't have a switch in, he has to switch out, So I'm just going to go for the Shadow Ball. It hits the Metagross and it hits the Cresselia. And now I'm going to reveal Taunt and not let this Cresselia, click Calm Mind or anything like that. That was really his only chance, was with the Cresselia there at the end after losing, basically all of his Mons. Really offensive paced here, and we're really going to be able to just clean up here. I'm going to hard switch out into Sneasel. I don't want him to be able to go out into Cresselia and get a free Calm Mind off, so I'm going to go hard switch out into Sneasel here, and knockoff should knock him out. I am Life Orb. Despite him not having an item, I am Life Orb, and now he's forced to go into Infernape and finish off the match. But he can't, he can't damage. Like I mentioned in my team builder, Choice Banded Earthquake wouldn't have knocked us out there. And Alolan Marowak going to put in the work this week. It picked up a knockout on Infernape, picked up a knockout on Gastrodon, and it was able to set up Stealth Rocks so that, everything was chipped you know, every time it come in, forced Decidueye in to try to maybe defog on my Garchomp or something like that. And we were able to just eliminate the thing with the Devastating Drake, which was set up by Alolan Marowak. So Johnny Bones Jones here, putting in the work, and I was really happy about that. Really happy the natural gift paid off. You know, I brought 2 techs, and it's always nice when one pays off. Unfortunately, both didn't get to pay off with my Miracle Eye. It would have been dope if he brought say I set up a sub with Mega Alakazam, and he went into Alolan, Alolan Muck, and I clicked the Miracle Eye. Blow that thing away with the Psyshock. But yeah, good game, man. We move on to 3-1 now, so back on the winning streak. We'll be moving into week 5 versus We Will Take Your Coke. I think his name's Will, and we'll be looking forward to that, and hopefully you guys are too. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.